Page 191, problem number 1. An advertisement claims that a new car gets 27 miles per gallon on the highway with a standard deviation of 3 miles per gallon. All right, just from that information alone, we should be able to state our hypotheses. Now, what this is really saying is that the company is claiming the car gets on average 27 miles per gallon. Okay, so the average car you buy is going to get 27 miles per gallon. So our null hypothesis is that the average miles per gallon of these cars is equal to 27. So we are going to test that claim. So our alternate hypothesis is that the average does not equal 27 miles per gallon. So this group tested 35 of these cars, found that the average in that sample was 26.3 miles per gallon. Is this statistically different than the advertised value at a 95% level of significance? Okay, so we've got our null and alternate hypotheses. So what tests are we going to use? Well, we're comparing an average to a set number. So that means we're either going to use a z-test or a t-test. So let's see what we know. We know the standard deviation of the population. We also have a relatively large sample. So since we know standard deviation, the sample is 30 or more, we're going to choose to use a z-test because we know the standard deviation and because n is greater than 30. Okay, next part, find the p-value. So to do this, we could use a formula or we could use our calculator as a tool. Let's pull out our calculators. Now to do this, we're going to press our stat key and go over to tests. The very first choice is z-test, so I'm going to press enter. We will enter our stats. Our original mean comes right here from our null hypothesis, is 27. Our standard deviation of the population was 3. The sample mean was the data we collected, that's 26.3. And n was the number of cars we tested, that was 35. Now since our hypotheses, we're testing if it's equal or not, we'll keep that sign, and let's calculate. Now the p-value we need is right here. Let's jot that down. So our p-value is about equal to 0.167. Now p is a probability. One way of thinking about this is that this is the probability that the null hypothesis is true. Now what p really is, it's a probability that if we were to select samples of 35 of these cars over and over again, the probability that we'd get an average of 26.3 would be about 17% or so. Okay, so what's our conclusion? Well, we look at our p-value. If our p-value is less than 0.05, so if we have a very small p-value, we reject the null hypothesis. Since this p-value, it's small, but it's greater than 0.05, our conclusion is we do not reject our null hypothesis, H sub O. This means we have some evidence to show that maybe the average isn't quite equal to 27, but it's not enough evidence to say that for sure, so we don't reject the null hypothesis.